Hello, welcome back to the Evolution of Mom. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode where I dove into creating habits, things that I've learned over the last year on how to successfully do that, and just kind of playing on the sentence and the term new year, new you, which I don't agree with. I think we can enhance the you that is, which, if you listen to last week's episode, that's kind of the whole flow there. But today, I actually really wanted to talk more about some other sentences that have been coming up for me lately. A couple of them were in book club the other day. Now, one thing you all know I deeply believe in is getting around a supportive community of like-minded people, of goal-oriented people. And if you want to read more books, join a book club. If you want to get healthier, join a health group, right? We're always trying to align ourselves and be around more people that are where we want to be, or at least striving for the same things, because those are the groups that are going to give us the most support instead of the ones that are going to kind of bring us back down. And so, like, shout out to NLU Book Club. We do it every Saturday morning. It is so much fun. Alan likes to call it Mirror Club because it's actually more just like a deep discussion around some certain ideas that we picked up in a book. And right now we are reading Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits has been an excellent book so far. We break down all the things, and the biggest discussion in book club the other day was around a couple very common phrases. And one of them being quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. When you hear that, what do you think about? Does that seem true to you? Is it something that you grew up hearing, that maybe you should only do something once really well instead of a bunch of times? What are your thoughts on that? I deeply believe this sentence is what creates perfectionism. And there's a lot of reasons why a lot of us grow up as perfectionists, but this is a really good example of that. I can't do it perfectly. It's not the quality I know it could be. So we give ourselves the excuse to step back from it and not do it at all because it wasn't quality enough. It wasn't perfect enough. But quantity creates perfection. Repetitions are what create greatness. And so I actually think that sentence in most scenarios needs to be thought about differently, because the more you do something, the more quality you're going to produce. For example, when I was in my RMT training and the professor would constantly say, okay, now put your hands on this person and you're going to feel like 3 layers down. And in this level, there's this type of tissue, you're looking for this kind of knot. And I'm sitting there like poking, like, I don't feel anything. I can see it in the textbook. I've read about it. I've understood the theory behind it, but I can't feel it yet. The only way I was going to feel different levels of people's tissue to get into describing and discovering certain kinds of knots versus others, to understand what layer I'm in the body, took time. I could have been as prepared as possible, knowledge wise and book wise, but the more hands-on I got with patients, the more bodies I touched, is how I got that skill. Repetition. So no, my first massage probably wasn't top quality when I was in school, but the more that I did it, the repetitions, the quantity of the treatments I gave me that ability to give quality treatments, because I was able to train my hands to feel and find what I needed to do. And so I know that a lot of us give ourselves, especially women, we love to be thriving perfectionists in everything we do, but we love to use that as an excuse to not do the thing. Perfectionism is one of the deepest forms of procrastination. And I know that's a hard truth sometimes, but it's one that I have absolutely had to come to terms with and have learned to actually embrace, because I deeply believe it's true now. I would rather put out something on repeat and practice it over and over and over again than try to do it once or not at all. A really good example was last week's episode. Showing up because you tell yourself you're going to show up and do the thing sometimes is more important than the quality of the thing you put out, because you're creating habits. You're keeping promises to yourself, which I know I've talked to you guys about that 75-day challenge we're doing over in the Facebook group. But last week I was tired. I have been through a lot in the last week, and I wasn't as prepared, as focused as I would normally be on a podcast. I didn't like the episode. I didn't do a good job, in my opinion. It didn't flow very well. I missed certain things that I really wanted to talk about in that episode. And I could have not put it out, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes just having it done is good enough, because I know that the more that I repeat and the more quantity of podcasts I put out, that's what's going to get me better. And it's also okay to show myself that it's okay to let go of that perfectionism, because perfect for me is very different for perfect for somebody else. Someone might listen to that and get some really good information. I hope that they do. I listen to it and I hear crap. And that is okay. It's okay. So sometimes, in fact, I'm going to argue more and most of the time, quantity over quality, because quantity is what's going to gain you that quality. And it was a really good discussion around that in book club the other day. So I would love to have you ask yourself that. Do you believe that? And in what area could you show up with more quantity instead of quality? Do something every day for 5 minutes versus once a week for an hour, right? What does that look like? How does that feel for you? The next one is work smarter, not harder. It's the same concept. I feel like you have to work hard to work smart. Alan said that the other day in book club, and it lit this light bulb up in me of, yes, that's what I deeply believe. I deeply believe you have to work hard. You have to work in quantity to give quality, to give smart work, to work smarter. You have to go through all the things that are not smart. That's the beauty of failing forward. That's the beauty of continuous repetitions and quantity, is you're actually narrowing down what is smart in this realm. And not only that, you're narrowing down what your focus is, what your niche is. Let's say in business, for example, I'm going to use my RMT practice again. I found that I loved to treat women. I loved my pre and postnatal ladies coming in. I loved pelvic balancing, helping them with their low back pain. And so I started to focus my continuing education based on that interest. But that took a lot of quantity of treatments to find that out. I also discovered that I hate treating knees. Knees are not my thing. I don't like treating the knee. So I would refer those out so that I could bring in more patients that were more fulfilling to me and more within my realm of how deeply I could help them, because I have done more in that area. I have studied now more in that area, that I've done enough quantity of treatments to narrow my focus into this. So actually doing the quantity, doing the hard work is going to help you even niche down your fulfillment. There we go. There it is. So even when you're starting out in something, do the reps, do all the things, because sometimes you start way out here with this broad focus and it's going to bring you in and help you hone in. And then I ended up giving up my practice to start a wellness business that I have, to start public speaking, to funneling it into coaching. But that all started way out here. Hey, I love talking to women about wellness and about their environments. And now I've niched it down into what I'm doing here. And that all came from repetition, from some pretty crappy things about something, let's say that was too broad, me talking to everybody about toxin free living and the things like oils and stuff that I would talk to them about. And the more I did it, the more I found where my fulfillment was. I found where my passion was. I found where my purpose was, because I've been able to link it to my education that I have and to my past history of dealing with hormonal issues and painful periods and the emotional struggles that go along with all of that. I've navigated all of those spaces continuously, many times, to create what I now believe is a quality area for me to focus on. I'm about to deliver quality into the realm of women's health more so than I ever have. And those of you who have watched me public speak and watched me do those things, yes, absolutely, that has been quality and there has been quantity in that realm, but it's getting better and better and better the more I do it. When you see someone doing something very well, do you compare yourself because you think they stood up and just did it well once? Or maybe can you give yourself some grace and realize, hey, this person probably has hundreds of repetitions behind this great presentation, behind this great piece of art, behind this business that they have built. That comes from quantity, of trial and error, of failing forward, of learning what their skills are, what their fulfillment is, because we should always be trying to hone down what gives us our fulfillment, because that's where we can live the best, most abundant life financially, in love, in friendships, in relationships, in everything. We are our most fulfilled. And that comes through trial and error. It comes through finding out what you're not. So quantity, go do the quantity, get messy, fail forward. I think that's the biggest thing that we can all do, and the biggest message I can give you today. Now, quantity over quality, I'm going to start saying, not the other way. And working, what was it? Work harder, not smarter. Work smarter, not harder. Other way around. I'm also switching that one. You learn to work smart by working hard and finding out the things that don't serve you. So those are two of the sentences that I wanted to tackle today. And I want to know how you feel about that. What does that make you feel? Because for me, as a perfectionist who used to only put out things that were super perfect, in my opinion, that I would work so hard for, that I would stress over, and oh my gosh, the tears that would be shed over something I never even put out in the end at all, because it wasn't perfect enough. It wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. And in the end, now I realized, did I even have the know-how of what I wanted it to be anyways? Because I hadn't created more of that to begin with. Quantity. Do it. Do the quantity. Do the messy reps. I believe in you. I want to know how you feel about this. I want to know. Oh, that's what I was saying. I feel like I went off a little tangent there and then stepped away from what I was saying. Not abnormal for me, BTW, if you're just coming in. But it felt so expansive for me to switch the narrative of these common phrases, to switch it, to allow it to be a safe space to do a bunch of things messily, to do something extremely crappy a bunch of times, to get it to where it is great for me and how I feel good about it. How does that feel for you? Do these revamps of this sentence feel expansive for you? I hope that it does. I hope that it gives you encouragement and empowerment to go and make those quantity and quality mistakes. Do it, because the perfectionism is no fun. Honestly, it's no fun. It's a huge stress on your life. It's a huge stress on your mind. It places a lot of weight on you, and it creates a lot of things like stress that's outside of your control. And in this space, in the evolution of mom, I am deeply trying to help you focus on letting go of stresses that are outside of your control, reframing your mindset that to tackle the things that are within your control, and to help you have a more harmonious, happy life through these tools. Through making your body work for you is a very common avenue you'll hear me come in from, and through mindset, right? Health, happiness, hormones, the harmony in between them all. These are all my favorite things right now. But it took me a long time and a lot of repetitions to get to this space. And I plan on continuing to keep doing these repetitions to even get better and better and better, to do the quantity, to create the quality, to do the hard work so I can work smarter to help others. That feels good and expansive to me. I hope it does to you. Thank you for being here. As always, I love you. We'll see you next time.